Hey, how you doing, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of ConCept. This is episode 1 of season number 2. How you doing? Thank you for joining me. I just wanted to come and talk about artistry in its total, artistry in its totality. You know, artistry starts in a rough place, right, for everybody, right? Because we're never like 100% good at any craft that we're doing, anything that we're trying to perfect or do anything. So, it's rough. You're having fun with it. You know what I mean? You gotta have fun with any craft you're doing, whether that's writing a book, whether that's making music, whether that's doing videos, stand-up comedy, films, and the long line goes on. Anything you do, it starts off rough. Even if that's a profession or anything like that. You know, with this art that we display, is put up, for a reason. It could be humorous for some, it could be distasteful for others. It could just be silly or goofy, put in a light mood. But one thing about it is, your art gives off an energy. Whenever you're creating art, your art gives off an energy, right? If you're in a bad space while you're creating your art is going to reflect that. If you're in a bad space when you know what I mean, when you're trying to record a song, paint a picture, whatever you're trying to do when it comes to something artistic, your art will always reflect the mood that you're in. And even if it don't show it, your art could be a picture of a beautiful, bed of flowers with sun over top and a cloudy sky and everything, and it could be a beautiful painting. But when you painted that portrait, you could have been in a bad spiritual space, or just in a bad, just having a low vibration or whatever. And when people look at that painting, even though it's beautiful to the eyes, people will get a feeling of sadness from it. This is why people go to art galleries and things like that, and they stare at paintings for a while. And what it is they're trying to attach, connect to the painting in a way, not physically, but, spiritually and mentally, they're trying to, feel, the connection from this painting and what the artist was going through at the time, or what was on their mind, or what emotional state they were in at the time. That's why they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, because it truly is. It's the same as a song. When somebody's making a song or anything, when they're mixing it, when they're singing a song, when they're producing a beat, whatever they're doing with the song, engineering it, you can always tell if they were in a good space or not, by the words that they choose to use, the cadence, unless, when you're attached to the machine, I guess you could fake the phone and say some beautiful words. But you could say beautiful words, and still have your song make people feel sad. You could have your song make people feel bad or depressed, because you going into your art, you going into that song, even though it's a beautiful song, uplifting it could be. But just because you were in a bad space, just because you were depressed or down at the time when you were making that song, some people, for some reason, maybe they're more connected than others, will feel a depressing feeling or sadness from your music, if you're feeling that way. Same thing with movies, for videos, for photography, or whatever you want to call it, how they do the memes and everything on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. You know what I mean? You got certain ones that make you laugh, and you got other ones that's like is intended to make you laugh, but it'd be like, whoa, this feels a little eerie. Like, this video feels a little weird right here. And it's because the energy that was put into it, the energy that you put into anything, it attracts equal and opposite energy. So even if you attract to a thing, right, it's because, maybe you were attracted to a positive thing because you're a positive person. But then you watch this positive thing and it give you a negative vibe. is because the root of it is negative. Just because it look positive don't mean it's always positive. If the root of it is negative, then it's always negative. And you could tell by the feeling that you get. I got a friend. He always say, how you know when you're being cheated? Because it feels like it. and the same thing applies with art, the connection you make to it, the feelings that it give you, when you're making it, when you're displaying it, when you're viewing it, because art has a dynamic. It has an amusement dynamic where art can amuse you. Pictures, movies, film, music, it amuses you. It's amusing to some degree, right? But the muse, what muse do you get from a thing, is directly tied to that energy, to that feeling that they had when they created that thing. And a lot of people, the muse is tied to it. And sometimes you can be mused by a thing and wonder why are you creating something that's not anything compared to what you seen, and it's because, well, one, you got your own artistic taste, possibly. And two, because the feeling that it gave you was a different dynamic from actually what you seen. What you seen was a beautiful picture, but what you felt from it was horror. And that's because there's a dynamic to everything. There's there's tangible, there's intangible energy in things. A lot of people believe that if you can't see it, feel it, or touch it, that is not true. If it's not tangible. If I can't touch my phone right now to record this episode of podcast, then it never happened. And it's not real, right? If you never listen to it, did this podcast really ever exist? Did it ever happen? How did you feel when you listened to an episode of my podcast? How did it make you feel in a way? That's a tangible feeling. But the podcast itself isn't tangible. The phone that I'm recording it on, that's tangible. I'm holding this phone in my hand right now, recording this podcast right now in this moment. But the actual podcast itself isn't tangible at all. Okay? And if you heard it, it became tangible. And if you didn't hear it, it just remained not being tangible. You know what I mean? Because you never heard it. You can hear a word from a person, but never really perceive it until you hear it from another person, from a different person, in a different perspective, and a different point of view, used in a different manner at times. What I'm realizing in my artistic journey is that you got a lot of different personalities out here, and you got artists dealing with everything, all types of shit, a whole gambit of things, and I'm saying that to say you can't really judge any type of artist because, artists has a dynamic, right? They could either be the hero or they could be the victim, right? They could be the victor or the villain, right? And it's because your art always comes from a place, of feeling, of emotion, of logic, of reasoning, of whatever that is, right? And it comes from this intellectual pool, right? Now, we bring this art, we manifest this art, and it's just, I forgot where I was going for a moment, I'm gonna admit, but it's a cool dynamic to it. It's a different type of dynamic to it when you understand that art is something that's tangible and intangible at the same time. The feelings tied to it, the emotion and everything, that may be intangible, but the art itself is tangible. Like the podcast, that's where I was going. I'm right back there. The podcast is intangible, but tangible at the same time because you can actually get it and listen to it on your phone. The only thing is really tangible is the phone, maybe the words that I'm saying because you're catching them. You know what I mean? If you're catching them, that's tangible. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Just, to be honest with you, it's like I run into a lot of artists that talk shit about other artists, that down other artists, that down just the way that they live or just anything. And you be like, dude, you don't even know this person. Like, you don't know this person. You don't know where they come from. You don't know how they got to this point in their life or anything. And the first thing we do is you be judgmental of a person and their art and however they express themselves. And it's like, man, y'all gotta, we gotta really start having a heart out here, because people come from a long line of whatever the fuck, especially to become an artist. Some artists become artists without any adversity at all in their life. Some artists are forced into artistry. And then you have others that are just artists because they were going through things. Artists that were going through things, those are different type of artists right there, because those are artists on the brink, okay? On the brink artists, trailblazer artists. They're artists that you rarely get. You get them a lot, but they are so, jaded from everything that they've been through and life itself and just, being battered and shit like that. It's like, it'll make you not want to do your art. It'll make you want to just give up on shit or whatever. You know what I mean? Being told you're not good enough, being told that, your art is mediocre or whatever the case may be. Being told that you can't make it without being in the corporate industry, being told that, or being showed, because a lot of times you be showed and everything that, you know what I mean? Because there's gatekeepers out here, and every career path you choose, every type of door you try to go into is always a gatekeeper, an attack vector, I want to say. Gatekeeper. There's really no gatekeepers, it's attack vectors. And what they do is they'll either use themselves or they'll use something around you as an attack vector. I took that from Elon Musk too. But my thing is, whenever you're trying to create, it seems like it's always an obstacle, something in your way, something holding you back. You know what I mean? Either it's finance, either it's your team, or it's either a situation, a life situation, something going on, a relationship situation, something going on. There's always some situation that's trying to keep you away from doing that artistry or completing something that you set out to do. I witnessed this in my own personal life. And sometimes it seems as if it's intentional. It's meant to be that way. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know if it's a higher force to be. I don't know if it's something worldly here going on. But it seems like if you're creating art or if you're trying to, create something, manifest something in the world, everybody has to have some input on what you do. Okay? I'm going to tell you my goal as trying this thing, right? Trying out everything, books, music, podcasts, streaming, all this shit, right? I don't try to let anybody's input affect how I create my art. Period. Especially if I look at you and I see that you're a flawed person yourself. If I look at you unjudgmentally and see that, you're the type of person that backbite people, or you're the type of person that do slimy shit to people, or you're the type of person that's egotistic, I normally tend to try to stay away from creating art with those people or even giving a fuck about what they think about my art. I even catch myself sometimes. Fucked up my sentence. But I even catch myself sometimes helping those people out, because I realize I'm an empath. And the empath is someone who can manifest things and make things happen, good things. So a lot of times people will attach themselves to an empath to get things done, but they'll still be treating the empath shitty or incorrectly. Yeah, people will do that, treat you shitty or incorrectly because they know you have a kind nature. You have a pleasant nature about you, and you're not about that shit. So what they do is they'll try to disturb your energy, your vibration. You know what I mean? What you on? They want to disturb that. They want you to be on what they on. They want you to be on what they on so they shit could be successful. Because without you being on they shit, it might not be successful. You know what I mean? That's what empaths do for people. And some people know that shit. There's a lot of people out here that know what empaths is. There's a lot of people out here who don't know what it is. The ones who do know what it is, the people with knowledge of Masonic knowledge and things like that, they use those type of people. And they abuse those type of people. And I'm realizing that. A lot of empaths are I don't want to say that because I don't want to put a stipulation on being an empath. Because I'm going to be honest, I haven't looked it up. I just learned about it myself. So I'm going to take that whole statement back. I can't tell you what an empath is, but I know what it. I know what an empath is. I know what an empath is capable of, and I know what they do, but I don't know exactly all the shapes, forms, sizes, and varieties that empaths come in. But I know I'm one. So I have to be careful of where I go, who I associate with, who I create with, who I talk to, who I allow to talk to me, who energy I accept. Because I feel energy from people and shit like that. Like you can feel emotional energy from people when you're an empath. Literally. Like, sometimes you have social anxieties and things like that. And it's because a lot of the times in the room that you in or wherever you at, you feeling the energy of the crowd that you in. A lot of people have that feeling. Or if you're talking to somebody and they feeling emotional and they want to cry and they don't want to, like they're not crying, but they want to cry. You feel that shit. You'll start, as an empath, you will start tearing up. You will start crying. You get a level of clairvoyance. You get a level of clear emotional voyance, clear, thought voyance at times and things like that. It's because you're being selfless. Empaths are very empathetic and selfless. Because of that, a lot of us get utilized in the wrong way. A lot of us get, for a long time until you realize who you are, you'll be stuck doing some other shit. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, I've been researching into a lot of things. I don't want to go into that because, I got a whole nother life outside of this podcast. I mean, I wear multiple hats, man. I do a lot of shit. So it's like outside of trying to create music, outside of trying to write books, outside of trying to, do podcasts and game streams and all that shit and be a father and be a good, fucking family member, a person, period, in general. You know what I mean? It's just a lot we got to deal with, man. Recently, my grandmother, Doris Brigman, a.k.a. she was known as Dorothy Brodus, she passed away recently. And she actually went on my daughter's birthday. Yeah, she transitioned to the next level of life on my daughter's birthday. And, if you take a victim mentality, you could be like, oh my God, why, this, that. But, to be honest with you, that's a Native American, indigenous thing that they do, the passing on of energy, of life, and things like that. And to do it on somebody that you love, birthday is like, it's a beautiful thing. It's a very, very beautiful thing. It kind of clears your path to whatever, next level of life. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like like flying a Boeing 747 jet in paradise. You know what I mean? Because there's all type of blessings and things that's attached to that. There's also blessings attached to being there for your elders and being there for somebody that's, that's in your family who may need you and things like that as well. So, just be mindful of that. And that shit is hard sometimes. It's really hard sometimes because, you got your own personal things that you're doing with your life. And they are who they are, at the time they get that age where they gotta, need help and things like that. They are who they are at that point. So it's up to us to just be, be mindful and, understand what they going through. Because life is a revolving door, man. You come here with one fucking patch of hair, you leave out here with one fucking patch of hair. You come in here wearing Depends and shitting on yourself, you leave out of here wearing Depends and shitting on yourself. You know what I mean? You go out of here needing help chew your food, goddamn. I mean, you come in here needing help chewing your food, you go out of here needing help chewing your food. You know what I mean? So it's a circle of life. When you get older, you're just a big baby that need to be taken care of. That's all. You just got to be mindful to be good to the people in your life or be a good person in your life. So that way when you get older, you have family around you and surrounded by people who love you and want to help you out and take care of you and things like that. That's all you can really ask for at the end of the day. At the end of this, life, when it's time to transition, is that you transition comfortably, very comfortably, Well, that's this episode. Thank you for listening. Once again, please like, share, and subscribe on the YouTube. Stream some of the music. They've been playing some of my older music too. It's cringeworthy, but it's funny. It give me a laugh sometimes. So yeah, go out check on it. Don't beat me up too bad, 'cause I'm doing my best, man. I'm doing my best. I'm trying my hand at multiple things. So that's what being an entrepreneur, being forced into being an entrepreneur entails. Thank you again. This is Mr. Pagan. This has been ConCept. Have a blessed one.